Have you ever been tricked by a lie? Maybe a friend wasn't really busy, or you believed a too-good-to-be-true deal. We've all been there. We often think of nervous fidgeting or avoiding eye contact as signs of lying. But what if we could spot lies just by listening? It turns out, our language gives away a lot more than we think. Communication science has uncovered fascinating secrets about how we use words, especially when we're not being truthful. You see, lying isn't easy. Our brains are wired for truth, so constructing a lie takes effort. This mental effort leaves behind subtle clues in the way we speak, clues we can learn to recognize. Think about it. Remembering a made-up story is way harder than recalling a real event. This mental juggling act can trip up even the smoothest talkers, making them stumble over their words or reveal more than they intended. By paying attention to these linguistic slip-ups, we can become better lie detectors. For years, we've been told to watch for shifty eyes or nervous tics to spot a liar. While body language can be telling, it's not always reliable. People can be nervous for many reasons, and seasoned liars often become experts at controlling their physical reactions. Language, however, is harder to manipulate. It requires more cognitive effort, making it a richer source of information for lie detection. Think of it like this. You can control your facial expressions, but you can't always control what pops out of your mouth when you're under pressure. This is where things get really interesting. By analyzing speech patterns, we can uncover hidden meanings and inconsistencies that betray a liar's true intentions. And the best part? You don't need to be a human lie detector or a trained FBI agent to do it. Let's talk about cognitive load. Imagine your brain is like a computer. Telling the truth is like opening a simple file. It's easy and effortless. But lying? That's like running a complex program with multiple windows and applications open. It takes up a lot more processing power. This mental strain can manifest in various ways, including changes in speech patterns. When someone's lying, they're not just trying to invent a story, they're also trying to monitor your reaction, anticipate follow-up questions, and ensure their story remains consistent. That's a lot to handle. As the cognitive load increases, liars often resort to shortcuts in their language. They might use fewer words, provide vague answers, or rely on overly simple sentence structures. These linguistic red flags can be subtle, but they're often telltale signs of deception. One of the sneakiest tricks our language plays when we lie is the pronoun shift. When people tell the truth about themselves, they naturally use I words, like, I went to the store or I felt happy. But liars, well, they often distance themselves from their falsehoods. They use he, she, it, or even leave the subject out entirely. Remember Lance Armstrong? For years, he denied using performance-enhancing drugs. When asked directly, he'd say things like, nobody wants to see a sport with a doping problem. Notice how he avoids saying I even when defending himself? When he finally confessed, his language shifted. He said, I viewed it as an equal playing field. The I returned because he was finally telling the truth. Another red flag is negativity. Lying often triggers feelings of guilt or discomfort, leading to more negative language. For example, a liar might say, I hate it when things like that happen, instead of simply saying, I don't know anything about that. Remember how lying is mentally taxing? Sometimes this leads to overly simple answers. The liar doesn't want to get bogged down in details they might forget, so they keep things brief and vague. Imagine asking someone if they ate the last cookie, and they just mumble, nope, that's suspicious. But here's the twist. Sometimes liars go the opposite direction. They overcompensate by giving answers that are too detailed and complicated. They think a complex story sounds more believable. Take politician John Edwards, who denied fathering a child with his mistress. His denials were long-winded and confusing, full of legal jargon and justifications. When he finally admitted the truth, his statement was simple and straightforward. So how can we use this in everyday life? Start by paying attention to how people usually talk. Notice their baseline. Then, when the stakes are high, listen for shifts in their language. Are they suddenly using fewer I words? Are their explanations too simple or way too complicated? Remember, these clues aren't foolproof, but by tuning in to the subtle ways language betrays us, we can become much better at spotting deception in our daily lives.